Hi everyone. Before the video gets started, I just wanted to give you an idea of what's going on with it. It is a long video, as you can see already. But what happens here is I give you all the steps that I have learned necessary in order to take off and start extended travel or long-term travel or slow travel. Now, I also go into detail and experiences that I've incurred along the ways to help you better understand these steps that I've outlined and to give you a better idea and so you can make judgment calls along the way. I will tell you if your intentions are extended travel in this mode like I am doing, if you sit through this video, by the end of it, you will be 100% prepared to start your adventure. So without further ado, let's go to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome, I would say, to another episode of Expat Interview. However, there has been a change. I know some of you are aware that I've been toying with changing the channel name to make it something more suitable for what it's developed into. As Expat Interview, my whole principle when I was home researching, like many of you are doing now, was I always wanted to see interviews with people to get the words right from the horse's mouth, as they say, to see what they thought of their changes, how they made their decisions and stuff. Well, a lot of questions I wanted to ask them on camera so that you would have that information. And as bad as you wanted it, and as bad as the expats that have already made the decision probably would have liked to see it too, it is difficult to get people to go on camera and do an interview with them. Everybody's camera shy nowadays for some reason. But anyway, my channel has morphed into something different, really. Although I still intend to do interviews whenever I can to provide that horse of the mouth information to you. Um, but what I've morphed into is more of giving all the information myself. So I have renamed my channel to ExpatGlobetrotter, Slow Travel on a Dime. So that being said, welcome to my first episode as Expat Globetrotter, Slow Travel on a Dime. Now, which kind of goes hand in hand with this video that I'm going to be showing you today. I have been working really hard on a video that's going to explain all the details that I've learned so far along the way to help you learn the stuff you need to know in order to, even if you're just going to move to a location, most of the stuff is going to still be helpful to you. But if you would prefer to travel, such as I am, this is really good information, and it's gonna give you a lot of help in your preparation and your deployment of your travels. So I have developed this video, and it is called "Travel Like a Rock Star on a Beach Bum's Budget." So that's exactly what it is. I mean, I am not a wealthy man, but I have found a way to, like many of you are home wondering and scratching your head, looking at retirement, or you're already retired and your means aren't, much either. So you're worried and you're concerned about how you're going to live your life in your golden years. And more that I am out there and traveling like this, I'm so happy that I came up with the idea so that I can live my golden years with pride and dignity rather than trapped home in the US, wondering how I'm going to afford to pay for the things that you need in order to sustain life. So this is a map that I hope that I've put together for you folks. I know in your older ages, you come up with all the excuses. I'm too old. What if I get sick? It's going to be too hard on me. I can't haul my luggage around. You can. It's not that difficult if you follow these basic rules and guidance and system to know how to do it properly. It's not difficult. And you can enjoy your golden years, even if you don't plan on doing it until they ship you home in a wooden crate like I plan on doing it. If you just plan on doing it for a few years, so you can say that you did, and you can experience some wonderful experiences, um, you know, it's still going to give you the recipe that you need. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm back. So that's right, guys. Anybody can do it. You can travel the world on a beach bum budget. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. I'm talking about easily less than $2,000 a month. And if you're careful, if you follow these instructions to the T, you can do it on $1,200 a month. But you do have to have some reserves. All right, so we're going to get into it detail by detail. The first thing you have to do is adapt the slow travel mode and get out of the I'm on vacation mode. The slow travel mode is basically you're traveling to a country, either on a visa or on my free visa map, which I'm going to have a link here in the description as well, for you to look at, because there's so many places. Well over about 150 of them. I can't remember the count, that you can go without a visa and save you a lot of hassle and the cost of visas. For example, they're in Vietnam, 90-day visa, tourist visa. You got to hop out of the country if you plan on living there, and then get a new visa and come back. So it's a big hassle. The key thing is, going to countries that you can stay at least 60 days. And there's so many countries you can stay longer than that. Many, like Mexico, for example, you can go to for 180 days. The key is that you're reducing your flight travel time. The flights is what really add up. I mean, if you're going someplace every few weeks or even every month, that $250 to $500 for flights will just eat you right up. Now, once again, it depends on your budget, what you can afford and what you want to do. But here again, we're talking mainly to the people who are trying to find a way to be able to do this because they're unsure of their funds. So that's one major thing. Go to the places you can stay for 60, 90 days at minimum. Um, Find your best place to stay at the least amount of money, and get used to eating where the locals eat. Once again, you're not a tourist, you're not going out to fancy dinners, and you'll find uh, real quick here in Koh Samui, where I'm at now in Thailand. My first few days here, well, I can say it is much more expensive than Vietnam here, but it's Koh Samui, up in more north in Thailand. I'm sure that it's much less expensive. Even in the Bangkok area, I would assume that there it's a lot less expensive than it is here in Koh Samui. But I started thinking, well, I went to the grocery store a couple of times and bought a couple of bags of groceries, and it was $50. So and then going out to dinner a few places, it was a lot of money. And I'll tell you what, beer here, whoo, boy, it's almost as expensive as it is in the States. So, but just the other day, then I'm walking down the road here. I find, that I'm real near a town I didn't realize I was in. More of the local type area restaurants, and street side cafes. There are restaurant things. And, I ate my dinner for 120 baht yesterday, which is about 450 ish in US. So as long as you're seeking out those places, I mean, the food here in Thailand, oh boy, it was good in Vietnam. Oh my God, here it's just, it's really, really good. I'm going to try to do my best to stay on topic here. I'm good at going off on tangents. So the slow travel. So when you're staying, after you're staying someplace throughout their visa period, 60, 90 days or more, you want to try to plan your flight ahead of time. If it requires a visa for the next place that you're going, and somebody asked me, how do you plan the next place you're going? Well, I'm trying to choose someplace cheap to go to via air travel, or even if I take a bus or a train. So far, I've air traveled everywhere I've gone. Um, this time to come to Thailand, it was $277 for my one-way flight from Hanoi to Koh Samui. Now, I could have probably went to Bangkok and took a ferry, a bus, and then a ferry to Koh Samui and saved some money. But here again, now we get into the luggage thing. I'm carrying two large suitcases uh, and a carry-on. So when I push comes to shove, I'd rather just pay the little bit extra. It may cost me $60, $70 more, all in all, to fly right into Koh Samui, save $60 to $70, actually save $150 with a headache for $70. So you have to iron out those things. And once again, get your luggage down, more so than I have been. But I am hauling around extra stuff for what I do. Instead of one little laptop, I've got a big laptop and a small laptop. I've got cameras and blah, blah, blah. So it's a little bit more difficult, but narrow it down. I'm still cutting back. But the first thing, if there's a visa you need to make sure um, you can apply for e-visa from where you're at. In the case of Thailand, I was told I couldn't apply for e-visa. Fortunately, just before my schedule to come here is when they went to the 60-day entry without a visa from the 30-day. So I just said, oh, I'm going to just stay 60 days and not have to worry about it. And I can still extend that for 30 if I wanted to. But when you're planning ahead like this, you got to make those decisions up front. So I planned on just staying 60 days. I started looking once I knew I could stay here. I didn't need a visa or anything. If you do need a visa, you need to get that first before you book your flight. First thing, okay? So once your visa is all taken care of, I'm sorry, in some cases, you may have to go to the uh, embassy or the consulate in your area. Like when I thought I was going to have to apply for a visa to come to Thailand from Vietnam, fortunately I was in Hanoi because that's where the embassy was, and I had made an appointment with them to go get that visa. But then I found out about on the 15th of July started the 60-day rather than the 30-day entry. So I canceled that. But anyway, you have to, when you're in a spot, you need to start thinking about your next spot as soon as you get to the country that you're in. Like when I got to Vietnam, I started thinking, okay, where am I going to go after this? I pretty much knew it was going to be Thailand anyway. But then you got to start preparing. Do you need a visa? How do I get my visa? Do I do it online or do I have to go to an embassy? In the case where I didn't know that I was going to have to go to the embassy. If you find that out early, I happen to just out of the blue decide one day, I'm going to go to Hanoi and I'm going to go on that Haijiang loop. Um, so that's what got me up here. Fortunately, I was here. If I needed to go to the embassy, it was right there. But then you can plan your destinations. If you come to Vietnam and you planned on traveling throughout Vietnam, I don't know if there's probably an embassy, maybe I'm thinking in Saigon as well, but if there's not, and it's only in Hanoi, to travel south to north so that you finish in Hanoi so that you can get your visa to go on to wherever, to Thailand in this case. If you was going to Cambodia, you may not need to do that. So that's, once again, you need to figure out where you're going and what it's going to take to get there, and then plan your transportation. So once I had all that settled, I got online, and that's when I booked my flight. Now, here again, back to the luggage thing. The luggage can cost you, I mean, when I was traveling in Vietnam, taking a couple of flights, really cheap to do to fly. And once again, because of my luggage, I decided to take the fly-in way because it was so much easier. And domestically, the luggage is, to take it with you, even my two large bags, I think it was maybe $30, if that. I mean, it was really inexpensive to do. So, but it's just when you're flying internationally, the whole thing changes. When I flew to Thailand, $110 extra for my extra bag. One was included with my flight, and my carry-on was included with my flight. So I only had to pay for one bag, 110 US dollars on a $277 ticket. So this is kind of afterthought here. I'm adding this in just before I uploaded my video. Um, Checking into my flight to Sri Lanka from Bangkok. I'm just kind of reviewing different options. Now, this flight would cost me, I think it's like $239 for the flight, but that's not the point. What I want to show you here is the cost of your luggage when you're doing both international and domestic flights. Now, this is Sri Lankan Airlines, and on this flight, it comes with zero baggage except for a carry-on. I think that was limited to uh, 10 kilograms, but we're more concerned with the checked baggage. So 45 kilograms, you'll see on this chart here, US dollars, $675. Now, the airlines typically do by kilogram rather than pieces of luggage and how much each weighs. They allot a total kilogram for all your luggage. And, you know, if you have one piece that's 60 pounds and another that's 40 pounds, well, 45 kilograms is 99 pounds. So, you know, you'd be a pound over that. So that's Sri Lankan Airlines. Now let's look at Bangkok Airlines. Okay, this is Bangkok Airlines given their zones for point of origin to destination. Um, and as you can see by looking at this list, Sri Lanka is not there. Now, don't make the mistake of thinking that India is Sri Lanka, because it's not. Sri Lanka is a country, island country, at the very southern tip of India. So that is not zone 4. Sri Lanka is going to fall into zone 5, which is other than, because it's not listed here. So if we're looking at this zone 1 to zone 48, destination is zone 48, zone 1 is Bangkok. So it's 48 US dollars per kilogram. So if I'm taking one large bag, 23 kilogram, which is just over 50 pounds, that is $1,104 US dollars for your bag. Oh, and I wanted to point out that I forgot on the Sri Lankan one, there's a note there that is for one-way direct flights. If you had a connecting flight after that, there's going to be additional charge for that connecting flight. This next clip is Bangkok Airlines excess baggage. In other words, if you had purchased baggage and you get to the airport and it's overweight, these are fees for it being overweight. Just for the amount that it is overweight, it's a penalty charge. Okay, and this final picture is their fee for in Thai baht for different sizes of domestic, so flying within Thailand. For example, 20 kilograms, which is 44 pounds, it's 1,800 baht. So that's just a little over $50. Still not cheap for just 44 pounds of one suitcase. You can see how that increases, you know, if you got a couple of bags that you're dealing with. Here again, this is why I'm urging you to narrow down, if you plan on doing traveling for an extended amount of time. These luggage fees can literally just change everything. They're a game changer. You know, I realize now, before I go on one more flight, somehow, some way, I need to get these two big babies narrowed down to one big bag baby, because it's not too uncommon, and I see booking through Expedia, to get your carry-on and one check bag included. Now, the only other way is to step up from economy to premium economy or business class. Sometimes premium economy isn't that much more, but it is more. In business class, yeah, well, it's it's prohibitive to what we want to do. So narrow down, pack light. Now, a lot of countries and or airlines will mandate that you have an onward ticket. So as traveling into Thailand, it's ambiguous on whether or not Thailand has a law that you need to have an onward ticket. So many say they do, and so many say they don't. Airlines, sometimes I got collared in coming into Vietnam from Japan. My flight was coming in from Japan, and they pulled me aside and told me I needed an onward ticket showing that I would be leaving Vietnam after my 90-day visa was up. So, long story short, I was told that I was going to need an onward ticket when I went to Thailand. So and it had to be within 59 days. So even at that time, I was planning on extending an additional 30 days after my first 60-day visa was up. So I booked a ticket that I thought I would be able to cancel, blew right by me. But I booked my ticket to Sri Lanka. I knew that's where I'm going to go because I've got plans to meet friends there from Phuket. Okay, so that's another issue. But from Phuket to Colombo, uh, Sri Lanka, $138. Now I haven't researched what it's going to cost me in luggage yet. I'm afraid to, but hopefully it's not too much. But that's a cheap ticket. So I figured, well, instead of stretching out my 60 days to 90 days, I'm just going to go ahead and say the 60. This ticket that I thought I would be able to cancel right away, I can't. So I'm just going to use that ticket, and I'll go to Sri Lanka after in the 60 days. Now, if you find yourself in a position that you believe or even have a hint that you're going to need an onward ticket, I highly remember, and I have a link below here, use onward tickets. You can book a ticket for, I think it's $16 to anywhere. And unless they hear back from you saying, I want to confirm and keep that ticket, it automatically cancels in 48 hours. So it's a good way. I mean, draws a lot of question why these countries and or airlines even recommend or mandate that you have an onward ticket, because it's just so crazy when it's so easy to fake it. Because you'll get, I mean, that, I've used one before, and you get just, it looks like a ticket, it's an airline itinerary. And it works to solve the problem of somebody mandating that you have onward travel. So use that link down there, and it solves that problem for you. So what are we going to do in preparation to leave the States or England or wherever your home country is? A lot of people here from Australia. So from down under, hey, a lot of preparation needs to go. And first things first, passport. If you don't have one, you better start getting one now. So if you do have a passport, you want to make sure that if you're planning on traveling for 3 years, and that it's got enough time left on it. Because many countries, when you go into, they mandate that you have at least 6 months left before the expiration date, and that's going to vary somewhat from 3 months to a year. I've run across one place, I can't remember where it was, it required a year, because I think it was a 6-month stay or something. Anyway, you want to make sure, I mean, you can renew your passport sooner. You don't have to wait till the expiration date of it. You can renew it, so it's good for another 10 years. Also, you may have done a lot of travel in a short period of time. You need to make sure you got plenty of free pages left in your book. It's because there's countries that mandate that you have X amount of empty pages, so that good for stamps going in and out of the country or whatever. So make sure that's covered. A, you have a visa, and B, it's good for the amount of time that you need to be good for, plus 6 months. So your visa is all in order. You're preparing yourself to leave your home country. So the first thing comes downsizing. Now, I've gone through this twice. Once before I went to Mexico, and then again, I had to go through it after I had to come home for my operation and spend 5 months here, months in the States, back in Florida, while I was, healing and getting better. And, I acquired stuff again. I had to buy a car to get around and blah, blah, blah. So I had to downsize again. So, but, there's two different minds of thought here. One, if you're going to travel or move out of the country, travel for a long period of time or move out of the country, you may want to decide that you're going to just shed everything like I did. I ended my lease twice. And, it was at the end of the lease anyway. Well, my second time, I did cut it short, I think a month or two, but, it all worked out. Got rid of the thing, gave a lot away of stuff both times, gave stuff away a lot both times. And, some stuff I was able to sell. First time I sold quite a bit of stuff. Second time, a lot of it didn't matter. I just, I gave a lot of stuff away, took a lot of stuff to the Salvation Army. And I left my vehicle behind for a few months, and I just recently worked out with a friend that's going to be buying that from me. So if you own a home, I don't know, if it's permanent, if you feel it's permanent, I'd sell the thing. You don't have to worry about anything, or turn it over to a real estate agent to manage it and rent it out for you. That obviously is up to you. Personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that, have that headache hovering over me all the way through my travels. I'd just soon get rid of it. So then the next thing is our good friend debt. Now, I recommend, like I say, I think a lot of you are closer to my position, that you're considering doing this for two reasons. One, you want to live in your golden years. And two, you want to be able to live where you are finding it difficult to do with any comfort whatsoever in your home country. So, yeah, debt, good thing to be able to start your travels debt free. Once again, it all depends on your budget. If you can maintain debt at home while you're doing all the travels that you want to do and the way that you want to do them, well, that's obviously up to you. But for the most part, starting out debt free is a big load off your shoulders. So as you've been reducing, I thought it was a miracle I was ever able to reduce down to two large suitcases and one as big a carry-on as I could possibly get on the flights. So it's achieving a lot. But if I'm telling you, if you can get it down further to one large check bag at the most, and the maximum carry-on, I would do that. Now be aware, you know, it's easy if you haven't been doing any international travel for the most part. I'm saying outside of the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, because most of those have about the same luggage constraints on size, weight, and etc. But when you get abroad, those change. In the U.S., your check bag can weigh 50 pounds or more, depending on the ticket that you got. If you got an economy ticket, more or less, it's going to be limited to 50 pounds. If you pay for upgraded tickets, it might be able to be more than that. But to be honest with you, one of these large bags, pretty hard to get 50 pounds in it. But when you get overseas, that changes to 20 kilograms in most cases, which is 44 pounds. So if you've got her packed to the hilt, that extra 6 pounds can be a lot of stuff that, all of a sudden you'd be in violation. You got to dump. Yeah, I've seen people sorting through their suitcases in Vietnam, throwing stuff away because they were over the limit. Um, and carry-ons are another thing. There's some airlines here are 7 kilograms, so you're 15.4 pounds. And then others are 10 kilograms, so you're 22 pounds. So you just got to be prepared for that. Once again, the least baggage you can bring, the better off you will be and the happier you will be. Because it's a kind I've learned it's a pain in the ass. So clothing, for a guy, I like my clothes, so I've got a lot of shirts and a lot of, I mean, all I wear is collar shirts when I'm out for the day, and I wear shorts and flip flops or my sandals I had made in Vietnam. Um, I mean, the good thing is the kind of clothing that you're going to wear. If you're traveling Southeast Asia or so many places, it's too hot to wear long pants. It's just crazy. Uh, Not that I don't see once in a while somebody doing it, but the thing is, you don't, I brought probably twice as much as I really need. It's so easy. I mean, in Vietnam, I could get laundry done for $4. Here, I just got my laundry done for $4. You drop it off and you pick it up. I mean, yesterday, day before yesterday, when I dropped it off, she'd come back in an hour. It'll be done. And it was 150 baht, which is under $4. So it's a big grocery bag size of clothes. So you don't need a lot of clothes. It's so easy just to drop a few clothes off and get them washed and be all ready for your next week or two. So once again, that'll help you in your packing. I mean, girls, you don't need them all. You just don't need them all. I mean, if you come prepared, clothes for a week with one change while you're at laundry, I mean, that'll fit in such a small area. And incidentally, before I go any further, for this entire video, I do have an e-tutorial, so you don't no need to be taking notes or etc. If you want to email me, of course, my email is always in my description, and request a copy of this e-tutorial, I'll be glad to send it for you to you. And it goes over all this information with all the links in it and etc. that you're going to need that I'm reviewing with you as well. Sure would appreciate a donation for it of any amount you choose. I've got that information in my description as well. I did put in a lot of work making sure I had all this information together and accurate for you. So, medications. Um, if you're on your insurance, if you back home, and we're going to get into insurance, and believe me, and you have little copay or none at all, I would recommend on your general medications, uh, heartburn medicine. I take thyroid medicine, cholesterol medicine, the kind of stuff that's not a controlled substance or antipsychotic, or anything that I don't know how to put it, but I just like to label it all controlled substances because anywhere you go, you're going to be able to buy most of the non-controlled products, if not, yeah, probably all of them, I should say, over the counter without a prescription. But anyway, those kind of medications, as long as you're getting them, you're leaving the States or wherever, and you've got insurance for that, and it's inexpensive or free for you, I would stock up on it as much as I could get. Okay. Now, the controlled substances are a different story. In most cases, countries will, and I have a link in here of an article as well in this e-tutorial that will guide you into a link, an article that tells you about these different medications and what you need to do. So anyway, most countries will allow you to bring in a 30-day prescription. You're going to want to bring, or 30 days worth of pills. You're going to want to bring a prescription from your doctor And I would highly recommend asking your doctor to write a letter to another doctor, to whom it may concern, doctor, so, and a doctor, because when you get to the country of your destination, you will need to make an appointment uh, with a physician. It's not hard to do. I'm getting ready to make one myself. I'm probably going to go to Bangkok for it. But anyway, when you do that, then you can take that letter in your prescription. The letter is going to detail, hopefully, to the doctor you'll take it to, why it's prescribed, or somehow that it gives that doctor here or in your destination country access to enough medical records that he can make the decision without uh, putting you through a bunch of tests and etc. That he'll continue that prescription for you. Okay, I don't think that this is rocket science. I've never heard anybody having difficulty getting this process taken care of. Okay, and if it was a problem anywhere, I would be hearing about it on the many Facebook groups that I belong to. That somebody's having difficulty getting X kind of drugs, blah blah this and blah blah that. Okay. So yeah, bring that letter with you, and that would come in handy too if they stop you. I put all my medications in my check baggage, with just a exception to a few to get me through during my travels, and just in case I lost my luggage, uh, I'd have like a week supply on me in my carry-on bag. So if you have any more specific questions about that, please put them in the comments. As most of you know who do make comments, I respond to them all. Um, I don't know, YouTube's kind of funny, and half the time it looks like I've got the number of my comments are higher than the ones that I've answered, but I'll get back to you as soon as I see it. And the hours here are daylight there, nighttime where you're at. Another thing I think I would recommend to you is, and I'll have a link also in the description and in this e-tutorial, is an ID bracelet. This link will take you to my ID, and I'll have a discount code for you as well. And you can get bracelets or fobs. I forget what they call them, but something you can insert in, and your medical records can be accessed through a QR code or several different ways. So it's a good thing to have in your travels, especially if you're solo traveling. Um, if you're unconscious, one of these can tell so much, that they're going to need to know. I mean, just your blood type. Couldn't tell my blood type even if I was conscious. Okay, so additionally in your packing, some other essentials would be a small collapsible umbrella and a very thin poncho that you can put on. Don't be like me. I bought a rain suit, coat, hat, pants, boots that takes up way too much room, and I have yet to put it on. And also, I'll recommend a lightweight day backpack, something that you can wad up. It's it won't take up much space, but you just fold up, and and it just isn't going to take up much space. But when you're going out for the day, you'll find that there's a lot of things you want to take. You want to take your umbrella, you want to take that poncho, and just a multitude of different things, cameras or whatever you have. But they come in quite handy. You may remember from another one of my videos, I'm going to put a link here in the description, as well as in the e-tutorial that you can get if you just email me. And once again, I carry a Amazon Fire Stick that has been loaded. I call it jailbroke, with different apps in it. And it allows me to, especially when I'm using a VPN, and I have a link for NordVPN, which I've been traveling with for, I've been using for 3.5 years, going on 4, yeah. And it works real well through my travels, and it allows you to get all the programming from your home country. Now, probably the next biggest thing next to medication, I mean, these are all very important, but the things that are so much, I'm going to say, active conversation in Facebook groups and etc., is money management. Now, there's a few ways to do this, but I'm going to recommend the way that I have found great success. And I did my research before I left, and I suggest that you do the same. Capital One checking account, I've got the 360 checking account. In Capital One credit cards, do not, for the most part, I don't know if it's every one of the credit cards, but a huge selection of them are, do not charge any foreign transaction fees. So for those of you who don't know what that is, if you're in a foreign country and you make a purchase, like if I use my Regions Bank debit card here, there's an extra fee added to it. I don't know what percent, maybe 1.5% or something. Fee is added up to every transaction. So that cost just adds up. They don't charge, Capital One doesn't charge foreign ATM fees. They don't charge any foreign exchange fees. So your money is coming from the US in US dollars. When you're using an ATM in whatever country you're in, Vietnam, Thailand, the money comes out in Vietnamese dong, or here in Thailand as baht. So they exchange that value for you, no charge. Now, once again, watch my video on ATMs. Although the use of ATMs in foreign countries, although I recorded this while traveling in Mexico, it's pretty much the same process with the ATMs here. Watch out for, they're asking you if you would like them to convert the currency for them. Always decline that, no matter what country you're in, because that's a charge. They'll charge you a significant amount of money as a currency exchange fee, and you don't have, if you say no, doesn't matter. All you pay is the ATM fee for the bank who you're getting the money out of. Now, Charles Schwab, I'm told by many, that they reimburse you for that ATM fee as well, nor do they charge any of these other fees. So I don't have a Schwab. I don't mind paying, well, here in Thailand, it's $6 ATM fee, which Vietnam, it was usually at the most $2. And in Vietnam, TB, Thomas Brown, as initials, that's not the name of the bank, it's just TB. Everybody's going to be looking for Thomas Brown Bank. But anyway, TB Bank, they don't charge any ATM fee. It blows my mind, but so whenever if you're in Vietnam, always look for TB Bank. They kind of got, their bank color is kind of a purple plum color. So yeah, it's a cheap place, but most of them, 49,000 dong, which sounds like so much, but it's $2. So another thing about money management is a lot of people tout the WISE account, WISE. I'll have a link for it in once again in the description and in the e-tutorial. This is a company that does mostly transfer money, like Western Union. Their fees are just cheaper, and if you're gonna research WISE, I don't have a ton of information. I did recently sign up for it. They also have a debit card, but if you want the debit card, you need to apply for that while you're in the US. For some reason, it just won't work if you're applying for it while you are abroad. I didn't need or want the WISE card. I really don't see much need in it, being I have the Capital One 360 account that basically doesn't charge me any fees. And I do think there are some small fees associated with the WISE debit card. But where the WISE account comes in handy, I actually needed to sign up for it when I got this place that I'm staying here in Thailand, in Koh Samui. Because of my signing off and never using Airbnb again. And once again, I caution you, you may feel comfortable. I felt so comfortable with it and was a complete advocate until everything started going south. And when it started going south, it was a snowball downhill. So save the grief, because if you haven't been screwed by them, it's only a matter of time and you'll regret it. Okay. So anyway, now my workaround in so that I can book stays without using the booking agencies that um, I think I have covered in another video. But basically, I use Airbnb only as a source to locate places. Then I Google them, and because most of the time you can, their names right in Airbnb or, you know, any of those booking platforms. Ugh. Anyway, so they Google them, and a lot of times there's a link right to their website, or they have a WhatsApp number. Oh, get WhatsApp. That's not even in here. It just dawned on me. Get WhatsApp. Okay, it's you won't regret it. I'll tell you a little bit about it more in a minute with the cell phone stuff. So in this case, I found them on Facebook and Facebook Marketplace. So what I do is when I find them on there, to make sure they're not a scammer, I'll ask them if they have a ad on Facebook. I'm sorry, on Airbnb or Booking.com or one of those platforms. So then I can go there and look at the property on there and read all the fine print. Make sure I know what I'm reading or what I'm getting into. And then I will message back on Facebook Messenger. Do you have an ad on Airbnb? Send me the link. They send me the link. I pull it up on Airbnb or whatever the booking platform is. I review it, and then I message them in from Airbnb, and I'll ask them a specific question that I've already told them I'm going to ask them, and from Messenger, I'll say I'm going to message you from Airbnb. I'm going to ask you what color the outside of the building is, or something strange like that, and you answer me, it's white, so that I know you are the person that I'm speaking to on Marketplace that is the same person that's marketing their property on Airbnb, so that I know that person on Marketplace is real, so that then you feel safe in booking through them. So what I had to do, back to the Wise thing, she requested 5,000 baht deposit to hold the place for me. So I felt comfortable doing that, but it needed to happen through Wise, so, or some sort of money transfer thing. So I just decided to get the Wise account and set that all up, so then I could transfer her the 5,000 baht, which is like $136. And that's how that worked. So the next topic, the importance of being connected. Now it's it's a big issue. Another one that's all on Facebook all the time, about people that get here, get abroad, and all of a sudden they're not able to get texts. And these texts are so important for the two-factor authentication with your different memberships, like with your relationship with your bank, or Google accounts, or email accounts. You have to be able to get these. Now, the easy way out is an international plan with whoever your cell provider is back in your home country. Now, I know in the US, most of these international plans that tout unlimited data, well, that's unlimited data while you're in the US. It's not all over the world. In most cases, you're limited to 5 gigabytes of data, or 10 gigabytes of data if you're traveling abroad, and that's on a month. So I hadn't signed up for that. I had made the decision that when I got to Vietnam, I was going to. Now, of course, when I was in Mexico, I had a lot of problems. T-Mobile told me that, yeah, my T-Mobile will work there. Well, yeah, forget about it. It doesn't. It does, but half the time I couldn't even call or summons a Grab. I think it was Grab there. Yeah, it was Grab there. because I had no data, or the data was so slow that I couldn't, it was useless. So yeah, put you in a bind. You don't want to be able to be out without transportation, and then using cabs no matter where you are in foreign countries. Just don't do it. I mean, don't do it. So what I had set up for myself when I first headed out was just my basic plan that I shut off. It ended like two weeks after I was in Vietnam, and my thought process was I bought another phone, and just an inexpensive smartphone. When I got to Vietnam, I bought a SIM card for that would provide data. In Vietnam, data, well, everything's really cheap in Vietnam, but I paid. I was getting 4 GB a day. I mean, that's a lot every day and it cost me $20, just a little over $20 for a 90-day period. Not $20 a month. It was 20 days or $20 for all 90 days. So that was data. I had all the data and it worked fantastic wherever I was at. Problem was, I thought that SIM card would also give me the ability to make calls abroad and everything. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to pay extra for even local calls. You have to get a package as a call package. And if you want to make international calls, it's weird there in Vietnam. If you're calling businesses, it's a cheaper plan. If you're calling people, family, it's a whole different program. So that's where I got hooked up with Tello, and I had run into some issues with that as well. But here's the plan I'm on, and I highly recommend it. It's working perfectly, and it's the best. I wish I would have done this in Vietnam as well. Well, I did just before I left. But you set up your Tello with only there's many different plans. I got $100 of talk and then free texts, okay, and no data. That plan only cost me $6 a month. I can use Wi-Fi calling. Make sure you know how to set up your phone to make sure that it's Wi-Fi capable of doing Wi-Fi call. And when you do make a call, it is actually on the Wi-Fi call. Then I've got a SIM card here in my extra phone, like I did in Vietnam. It's more expensive here. It's going to wind up costing me about $30 a month. So that between having to be able to tether, use that other smartphone as a hotspot, so then I can run my iPhone. I mean, I could probably just use that phone, but I like my iPhone. Used to it, for maps, because you use your maps and navigation a lot, even for walking, your Google search, when you're out and about, seeing a Grab or, so whatever, is in the area, Uber or whatever. So that's the best way I found. Tello, Tello. Once again, have a link in the description and here in the tutorial for you to follow. I mean, I screwed up at first. I got a bunch of data in the phone service, and then there's also pay as you go, which that's what runs your data. I put $20 in that, and it got ate up rapidly. All right, so I was learning that the data. Then I upped it to unlimited data, and didn't make any difference. The pay as you go portion was still getting eaten up. Well, then I finally found out after being in chats with them several different times. I finally got the right answer that data is only usable in the U.S. If you're abroad, you have to use the pay as you go for data. So that's what the $20 part of the 20. Well, I put $20 in the pay as you go bank, so that in an emergency I have data to use there. If something happens, I run out of my other phone or whatever. And then the $6 a month covers the 100 hours of talk time, which I'll probably never use, and free text. I got basically for the free text, so I can get those verifications from my whoever I need to get them from. Now, I heard another YouTuber that was doing a very similar video. He stated that all he has is a data chip from whatever country he goes into, like I do with my other phone, and he's fine with that. Don't do that. That's horrible advice. You have to be able to have the ability to get that two-factor authentication. So, and you can't do that with just data. You have to have a talk text plan in order to get those authentications. Okay, and once again, if you guys have any questions on anything here, please put it in the comments and I will address it. Okay, trying to be as thorough as possible. Probably for a lot of you, I'm being way too thorough. But that takes us to our next topic. There is more. But wait, there's more. Is travel insurance versus Medicare. This is a big hot topic again. Now, the first thing is to understand the difference between travel insurance and medical insurance. Travel insurance covers you, and it also adds benefits to if your flight's delayed or canceled, or you lose luggage, and those types of, or yeah, those types of benefits. Put you up if your flight's canceled, and all sorts of stuff. So then the other thing is covers you for medical emergency things. It's not going to cover you if you say, got this pain in my side and it's been there for a week. I'm going to go see the doctor. You go to the doctor, don't cover that. Okay, that's going to be out of pocket expenses on travel insurance. But if it's an emergency, like as you've seen in one of my videos, I had a bad lingering spell that I thought, I was scared. So I went to the hospital and I got treated for it. And once again, as I often do, I highly recommend Safe Trip by United Healthcare. I'll have a link for that. And, excellent insurance. They pay direct, excellent travel insurance, I should say. They pay direct, and the cost of it, I researched a lot of this topic, and the product they have, the coverage they have, far superior to anything else that I could find. Plus, paying direct, you don't have to pay out of pocket, get reimbursed. I mean, there are a few companies that do that, but that's a big thing, especially if you're on a low budget. You don't want to have to pay, a lot of money. Now, when I went to the emergency place in Hoi An, Vietnam, the cost was like $214. But once again, it was paid directly by my insurance company. I could have paid it out of pocket, I suppose, and got reimbursed, but I didn't want to find out how that worked. I'd rather find out how the direct pay worked. Now, if you're going to move to a location abroad, I would get travel insurance through Safe Trip for as long as I could possibly get it. Most states you live in will give you up to 6 months. You can get up to 6 months. Some states like Florida, where I was from, it's only 90 days. That way, though, when you get abroad if you're going to bounce around a few countries just to see where you want to land or whatever, gives you time to do that. And hopefully it gives you time once you're in your location where you want to stay, that will give you time to research expat insurance. Okay, that's a long-term medical plan that covers inpatient, outpatient checkups, and that nature. Those plans are widely available. Then the question comes next: if I'm going to pay, $100 to $300 a month or something, I haven't done a whole lot of research on that because it's not what I'm going to be doing, is staying stationary somewhere. So I rely on travel insurance. But anyway, it'll give you time to research, that access to that type of insurance for yourself. So, but then the question is, what do I do with my Medicare at home? Well, that's a big question, and believe it or not, me, did a lot of research on that as well. And I'm going to explain to you what I have learned and what my decision was and why I decided to make that decision. Once again, as a disclaimer, you must call Social Security, not Medicare. You call Social Security to verify the things that I'm telling you are correct, and do your own research here. But by the time you're done listening to this, you'll be well prepared to have this discussion with Social Security, know what questions to ask to verify what my findings are accurate and would be in your best interest as well. So the question comes, do I maintain my Medicare Plan B, or do I cancel it? Well, my Medicare Plan B and the Medicare Advantage or uh, mega plans or whatever it is they call them. So this is what I learned, uh, that if you want to cancel your Part B. I mean, right now you're paying 174 that's deducted from uh, your Social Security benefit every month, and that, as we well know, it goes up a little bit every year, usually approximately 3%. So if you cancel that, your Medicare A still stays in place. That doesn't go anywhere, but also your Medicare Advantage plan, it disappears as well. So you only have Plan A insurance. Now, the big question for me was, well, what if I get sick and I feel like I need to come home to the US to make sure that I'm getting the treatment that I need? I'm talking, what if I get cancer, or, I'm pretty sick, that kind of stuff. In many cases, you still may be better off staying where you're at. I mean, here in Thailand is some of the best Medicare in the world. And if you've got good expat insurance, you just may be better off staying here. But that's something you're going to have to decide with and then that happens. But anyway, so what happens if you cancel your Part B Medicare? Well, a really neat change just took place just prior to the time that I left. So you obviously you won't be paying the $174 a month anymore. Um, but the change is, to restart it. It was that you could only, after coming back from traveling abroad, you could only reapply for it, I was told, in February, and it would not take effect. The coverage from Plan B would not take effect until the following July. Well, then I called back because I had more questions, and the lady told me, well, just last week they changed that. If you're traveling abroad, it is now if you move back to the States, uh, or if you're living abroad, traveling abroad, to me, it's all the same thing. Uh, and then you move back to the States and you want to sign up for your Medicare Plan B, you can do so because it's a life change event or whatever it is they call it. And you can do so right away. And the coverage will start now, the beginning of the following month. Now, there's a lot of ambiguity even there yet. I mean, if you apply for it on the 27th of the month, the odds of it being in effect for the next month are kind of tough. But the way I understand it is it will be in effect. Any expenses will go retro coverage from the beginning of the next month. So that's huge stuff. So I didn't see any reason being that was the case, that, if I needed it, if I got cancer, I just felt like getting my treatment at home or whatever, I could, stay under my travel insurance or whatever insurance I have where I'm at. I could apply for a reinstatement of my Medicare Part B, being still remaining where I'm at, being treated for my illness where I'm at. And then when the Medicare takes effect, I can hop home, a flight, and be on Medicare Part B and whatever Medicare Advantage plan that I chose, because then you have that, and in the States anymore, there's not pre-existing conditions. So I think it's a good plan. Okay, so now the question is, penalty. As we all know, if we don't sign up for the Medicare um, Part B right when we're eligible for it, we wait, there's a penalty. Well, it kind of goes the same way here. If you cancel it and say it's they do a 10% premium add-on for every 12-month period that you were not enrolled in Medicare Part B. So this year it's $174. The way the math works, it'd be an extra $17.40 added on to whatever your premium is when you reinstate it. Now, if it's a few years, say next year it's $184, then it's going to be $17.40 plus $18.40 for put together, added on to your next premium, and it goes so on and so forth for every year you're gone. Now, I figure, okay, what if I'm gone for 5 years and it's an average of $20 a year? That's going to add another $100 to my premium, but I'm going to save $174 every month. So the math to me just made perfect sense. You know, just to cancel it and reinstate it if I ever go back to the States, if I ever need it again. I mean, because then there's that ambiguity as well. Will I ever go back to the States? I really doubt it. You know, the time that I think that I might is, you know, I don't know even if I get sick, because like I said, if I've got good ample coverage here or wherever I'm at, because probably after a few years, I probably will stop doing all this traveling and I will settle down in a location. And, you know, my likelihood at this point, I ain't even say because I don't know. But, you know, we all think about where we're going to get good medical coverage. And I know Thailand is, you know, second to none. I mean, they have a medical visa here because so many people come here for medical treatment because of the cost and the quality. They offer a medical visa. So you can come here for, you know, even I think it's for 6 months, up to 6 months. If you have, you know, time that it's going to take you to heal, you can remain here in Thailand. So that's the Medicare thing. Once again, do your own research. You will now, from what I've told you, everything that I've told you here, I have mapped out in the tutorial. So, you know, it's all, if you want it, once again, I appreciate a donation for the request and sending it to you. There was a lot of work to compile it. But if you can't afford it, just tell me. I can't afford a contribution, Dave, but I sure could use that information if you wouldn't mind sending it to me. And you true blue, I'll send it to you. So another thing I need to clarify is a lot of people believe, and they'll argue with me until they're blue in the face, until I shoot them this article that there's a link to in the tutorial, and I'll also put it in the description as well. That people believe that Medicare will cover you while you're traveling abroad, just like medical insurance. That is not the case. There's some very fine, weird lines to where there's coverage abroad, and that has nothing to do with really traveling. I mean, if you're in the States and they find that you will get better coverage in Canada because you're close to the border there, and you know you're in BFE USA. Sorry, but you know across the border there's within reason a hospital they can take you to. That's when they cover you abroad, stuff like that. So read this article if you're a believer on that, and if you can prove me wrong, put it in the comments, because Medicare doesn't cover you abroad. Neither does the Medicare Advantage plans. Now, there are some Advantage plans that have some very basic coverage, and you want to read the fine print on that because it's very basic coverage. And in some cases, it's not going to be ample, okay? Trip insurance is too inexpensive not to indulge in. Like I say, my first policy was for 90 days, and while I was in Vietnam, and it cost me $290 some. So it's less than $100 a month, and the coverage was impeccable. So get trip insurance. It's not expensive. And in the weird case where they lose your luggage, you're covered there as well. So, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. If you're saving money, $174 a month on that Medicare, plus if you're paying for an Advantage plan on top of that, I wasn't. Mine was premiums were all covered, but you know, geez, what more can I say? So we're getting toward the end now, but there's another important topic. But wait, there's more. Okay, mail management. This is a great thing. You know, when I came, I set my mail up to go to a friend, but it quickly became a nuisance. I think on both of our parts, and it's just really. I mean, that's, come on now. I don't care if it's friend, family, or enemy. You know, and in some cases, when there's something you want them to you need to open up. You really don't want this person to know this kind of stuff. So, you know, about 13, 15, 20 years ago, I came up with an idea. This is the exact same thing. It's mailboxes for travelers. And they have it now, and it works exactly how I thought it should work. So I'm with a company, Traveling Mailbox. And what it is, you fill out a form on their site to allow them to get your mail and open it if you request it to be open. They'll scan it in, and it goes into your virtual mailbox, and you can open it there and either print it or just read it and destroy it. You can have them destroy mail. They automatically destroy all the junk mail. I mean, to me, I mean, I wish I would have signed up for this when I lived in the States. I mean, just to get rid of the junk mail and keep all my important mail on e-file. I mean, to me, I mean, you know, I think it's like $15 a month, but this way it's a street address you get, and you can get it anywhere in the world. And I'm going to say this once, read between the lines. It could help you when you're getting travel insurance predicated on the state you receive your mail in. Safe Trip only allows 90 days in Florida. Other states, they allow 180 days. So there's not much reading between the lines of that, is there? But anyway, so traveling mailbox, it's a great thing. Once again, a link I provide, both places, description and in the e-tutorial, so that you can set yourself up so you don't have to worry about your mail or having somebody get your mail that is going to be annoyed that they're doing it after a while, or you know, you don't feel comfortable them looking in your mail. You know, to me, it's just an ideal situation. So that handles that. I mean, yeah, what a way to go. It's an amazing thing. Like I say, if I ever go back to the States, I ain't gonna give it up. I love it. Okay, so what's budget wise? What do I feel that you would be safe at making this kind of excursion on? Well, once again, there's a lot of stuff that you're paying for up front. So, I mean, you know, if you got credit cards, I would maintain a couple. I got rid of nearly all of mine before I left the States. I just didn't want to have to deal with when they renew and getting them. But now they have virtual cards. I just got a new virtual card through Capital One, and it gives you a number that's different than the actual card number. But now this I did have sent to a friend, my actual card, but you get a virtual card number and you can use that for all your online purchases. All right. It's a different number on the, but you know, you need your actual card number to, uh, what do they call it when you get your card started? So anyway, you know, you can use if it's the credit card you want to use, or you've got some savings and that's all you plan on using. I would say you should have at least 5,000, a minimum of $5,000 in the bank, because once again, before you leave, you're going to be paying for stays, you know, lodging, travel expenses, and very often you're paying for a lot of stuff up front, like this place I have here. I booked for 2 months. I mean, I'm going to maintain it as I travel around Koh Samui and maybe even over to Phuket and do some there. But you know, it'll be 2 or 3 day jaunts, and I'll be back here. In Koh Samui, it's nothing. I mean, because it's a small island. You know, I can take a grab motorbike, ride on one on the back of one of those with my backpack. You know, and get across the island for $3. You know, so it's very inexpensive. Sure, I'll be paying for another stay, but instead of lugging this luggage, once again, the luggage thing around with me, you know, and traveling, hauling that stuff, I just soon have a base, which this is for 2 months, and leave my luggage here. Know that I got a place to come back to that I like and I enjoy, and you know, do it that way. That $2,000 or $5,000 savings, like I say, you know, I paid for 2 months up front here, you know, almost $450 a month. So, you know, I've got flight tickets out there. So it's always just good to have that, you know, $5,000 as you know, a fund to draw out of. And you know, then all of a sudden, I'm here. I'm going to be here for 2 months. I'm not going to be spent. You know, it's not going to be going out of my income, my Social Security income, paying for rent. It's already paid, so it all comes right back to you. It builds that fund back up. So then monthly, you know, it depends on where you travel and how you travel. Um, Once again, you're adapting the slow travel mentality, and you're forgetting the I'm a tourist mentality. Vietnam is incredibly cheap. I would say, you know, a lot of the countries here in Southeast Asia, if you mind your P's and Q's, eat as a local, um, you can, your cost of living is less than 1,200 a month easily. I mean, if you mind your P's and Q's, don't tour, you know, don't go on a bunch of tours and stuff that are going to cost you extra money. You know, feel free to do some travel, but do it on your own. You know, take a bus travel within country. It's always so cheap. And you know, even doing like I'm doing, I'm going to go across, stay 2 nights across the island here at a little resort. It's going to cost me $55 for 2 nights, and it's a nice place. So, and you know, I did in Hanoi. I went to Halong. It was $55. You've seen that place? Wow, was that ever nice? But I mean, I could be so bold once again, depending on the country, and if you really, you know, if you got, it was going to stay 90 days in Vietnam, you got a, you know, you had leads on places to stay from Facebook, or when you got there, you just asked around and you found a place. You can find a place for easily for $250, $300 a month to stay. Now you're not going to be on the beach, but you're going to be a little off the beach because you know Vietnam's one long beach. But anyway, yeah, you can live cheap in Vietnam, man. I mean, it's crazy cheap. So yeah, I mean, you can even do it on 1,000, but I recommend having 1,200 because you know, it gives you time. You're going to be spending a little bit more money at first, getting acclimated, and yeah, you know, finding out where the good places to eat that are you're eating like a local. But yeah, I mean, sure, 1,500 is going to give you some cushion, you know, but don't be afraid to do it on 12. Is what I'm saying. Okay, as long as you come to mind your p's and q's and look for the inexpensive ways because they're not hard to find. You got to be inexpensive food, eating like a locals, inexpensive stay. You got those two things down pat, you're golden anywhere in Southeast Asia. So you may have heard me, and we're getting right toward the end now. You may have heard me in a few videos talk about the visa-free, my Google Interactive visa-free map, and I've got a link to it in here. If you haven't visited that, I'm telling you, if you visit that, it's going to open your eyes wide up to doing some traveling, either you know with your mate or significant another, partner, whatever it is, or even solo travel. This map, it will blow your mind. Even if you didn't want to get too far away from home, if you're in the States and you just wanted to travel, uh, you know, maybe the Caribbean, Central America, Northern South America, and even if you included Mexico in that, you could, oh my God, there's hundreds of places. I mean, not hundreds, but there's probably 75 different places you can stay, anywhere from 30 days to 180 days. Some of them are indefinitely. You can go just because, but it's so easy in that neck of the woods right there. You're so close to everything in uh, the Caribbean, Northern South America, and Central America. And like I say, 180 days in Mexico, you can go to on passport only. These are visa free or visa on arrival places that you just show up and, do a little bit of research, because there are some caveats to some of the places. Um, but yeah, you sometimes they're going to want to just see some sort of proof that you can afford to support yourself while you're there. So bank statements and etc. But anyway, there are places that are so close. I mean, Grenada in the Caribbean is a very inexpensive place to stay, and there's a few islands. I think you stay there for 90 days, and there's a few islands right in that Caribbean. You could virtually just travel those few islands, if that's all you want to do. 90 days of one, 90 days of another. Pick four of them, or you found one that's 180 days, and just keep hopping around those all year long and just doing it over and over and over. But there's so many places around there. You can bet your bottom dollar, if you've got any uh, you know instincts at all, you're going to say, "Well, I want to go there." I mean, Colombia. I know it's where all the drug lords are, but there's parts of Colombia that is perfectly safe to go to, and it is dirt cheap there. It's probably from what I understand, it's going to be second to Vietnam in cost of living there. So, and there's people that are there that I read about and chat with on Facebook groups that just absolutely love it there. They can't imagine going anywhere else. So there's just so much. And my point here is, if you play on that playing field of visa free, which I'm pretty sure I just may hop on after Sri Lanka, it takes so much angst out of the travel, because there's a lot of and having to acquire the visas, pay for the visas, and all that kind of junk. I mean, it just, I mean, when I went to Mexico, or when I came here now, visa free India for 60 days. I mean, to Thailand. I mean, there was all this, well, they're still going to ask you for proof of income to support yourself, and they're going to want to see onward travel. I spent maybe 20 seconds at the immigration window. The lady looked at me. I said, like 60 days, please. She smiles, stamp, stamp. Here you go. It was so much fun. And going to Mexico, it was the same way for 6 months. I mean, it was nada, nada cachita, as I say. It doesn't mean nothing, but, it's so simple. I mean, applying for visa stuff, man, what a headache. If you're going to travel a lot like I'm doing, I mean, it's a pain in the butt. I mean, I get in the panic attacks when I learned I had to go to immigration here in Hanoi, or in Hanoi when I was there to apply, because I couldn't. All of a sudden, I found I couldn't do an e-visa, and there's a lot of places you can't use e-visa unless you're in your home country, and they know. So, all right. So I have a section in here. It's planning. It's 2 sentences, and basically, once again, what this is when you get to a destination, start planning your next hop. Know if you're going to need a visa, what the parameters are to acquiring that visa, how you apply for that visa, or if you can go in on your passport, what you're going to need as far as any supporting documentation. Um, and once again, if you're choosing places that are close to where you're currently at, 9 times out of 10, the airfares are going to be less. Now, um, from from Phuket to Sri Lanka, it's across the ocean. It's not close, but it's $138. There's not a whole lot of places you can fly for $138. So I don't feel bad at all at going there. Besides, I'm going to meet some friends, and I'm looking so forward to it. Depending on your budget, once again, I mean, you're retired now, you've been watching a budget for a long time, you'll know whether or not you got the money to spend, how much you got to spend on tickets, but I'm all for trying to save money while you're in these travels, not go through it needlessly. So, I mean, you may be able to take a bus. I mean, if you're in Vietnam, you want to go to Laos or Cambodia. I mean, it's a bus trip. You can take a bus, but once again, visas. So, but yeah, if you are flying someplace, a couple of red flags. Um, Once again, I've instructed you that I feel the best thing to do is plan early and get your flights early. Well, cancellation or change if you're getting the economy classes. And a lot of times, there's no free cancellation. Uh, and sometimes there is only after, before 48 hours. So note that how long you have to cancel, or even if you can cancel, or changed fees. If you can change without a fee, some tickets you can. Uh, some tickets you can't change at all. So you can burn through some money if you run into changes of your plans and your tickets aren't changeable. If you remember my Mexico videos, I got trapped in that a few times. So I use Expedia a lot to book my flights on, and you can even check cancellation or change if you want to. The tickets are going to cost you more. It's that simple. You know, so the best thing to be sure is do all your research on where you're going to be going and what it all involves, and never book a ticket until you've got the visa covered. Okay. Most visas, I've never seen one you couldn't. You can apply for it and you have 90 days to use it. Okay. So, pretty much if you're going to be like when I came to Vietnam, a week later, I could have been researching and getting my visa for Thailand, but I hadn't 100% made up my mind I was coming here until late, so kind of just all worked out though, worked out good for me, being that law changed on the 15th of July. Just note if you need an onward ticket, once again, got the link in here for onwardticket.com. Just use them, 16 bucks. And then that way, for example, if you are going somewhere like Thailand, you get the 60-day free entry. Well, it depends on what country you're from. From US, I know that's true. I'm pretty sure England as well, and Australia, but double check what your country is offered. But you get the 60 days entry, and that's extendable for 30 extra days. But when you come, if they request a onward ticket, it's got to be fly. You got to show one that you're leaving, okay, in 60 days. So that if you actually buy a real plane ticket, flight, then and it's not cancelable or changeable, you're leaving, or you're going to throw that ticket away just to stay another 30 days if you're granted that. So onward flights is the only way to go. I'm telling you, just use them. So that's pretty much it. I just want to say there's a lot to plan for. It sounds a lot more than what it is. I mean, I planned for 5 years. I mean, I can't say I planned. I researched. I'm just a research kind of nut. And there's things that I missed. But this is everything. This is everything that I wish I would have known before I started traveling. Okay. It's detailed here. Once again, I highly request this e-tutorial from me, because it maps everything out. It's got everything here for you. Has all the links you'll need, and I'll deliver it to you so the links are functionable. Yeah, so it would make you a good tool. The thing that I want to instill in you, if nothing else, is don't be afraid. Because I have to admit, when I was afraid, but I was going into it so blind. I wish I would have had this a tutorial for myself, and counted on the fact that it was everything I needed to know. Because I feel in my heart and in my soul that this being in your hands, if you're planning on moving abroad or traveling abroad in the extent that this will cover the basis for you in detail. Okay, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there about, especially they're coming out of the word work now, about slow travel. It's kind of a new term out there, or it's getting very popular at least. But they're 10, 15-minute videos that give you highlights and don't give you the nuts and bolts. I'm hoping that you are able to set through this video if this is what you want to do, and you've learned a lot and it's going to be helpful to you. So in conclusion, this has been Travel Like a Rock Star on a Beach Bum Budget, and it's brought to you by the Expat Globetrotter. Slow travel on a dime. All right, guys, next time.